For lesson 4, we're going to be taking these 5 pictures and combining them into a single image. Now the first thing we'll want to do on this, which is where the other 4 images are going, is create a transparency layer or an alpha channel. Right now it has the standard red, green, and blue channels. So we're going to come over here to Layer, Transparency, Add Alpha. And you can see the alpha channel over here. That will allow us to cut out sections and have things seen behind it. Next on the list is, if you look at this dresser, you'll see that it has only 3 handles and there should be a 4th one over there. Let's zoom in a bit on it. And I'm going to take the scissor select tool, choose a handle. I'm going to choose this one down here, outline it, close the circle, click in the middle, and now I'm going to copy it and I'm going to paste as a new layer. And you can see the handle winds up in this corner here, and if we go back to the layer stock, it says clipboard. I'm going to change the name to handle. Makes it easier to keep track of things. Now I'll grab the move tool and drag it down into position. Let's come up here and deselect. That's no longer has the marquee. You can see this one still has a dashed line around it. That's indicating the boundaries of this particular layer. If we click on the main layer, it goes away. Come back here, it reappears. So don't worry about it. Next, we're going to take this picture and cut it down. I'm going to go to the cropping tool, go to this corner up here, drag it down. Looks like it's pretty well selected. Hit enter. So now it's cropped down. Next, I'm going to go to the fuzzy select tool, select this interior gray area. But before I do that, I almost forgot. I need to also on this add an alpha channel. Let's make sure it's there now. It is. Now with the fuzzy select tool, I'm going to choose this interior area. You can see the marquee on the keyboard. I'm pressing delete. And as usual, the checkerboard pattern indicates that's a transparent area. Next, I'm going to go over to this image here. And I'm really not going to do anything with this image except copy it. Notice the size, it's about 4,000 pixels. Come back over here. This one's about 2,500. And I'm going to paste it in as a new layer. It's on top. You can see the size of this layer out here. Very big, way bigger than it needs to be. So I'm going to go to Layer, Scale Layer. You need to make sure that's selected. Now this chain here, when it's whole like the way it is, indicates that you make an adjustment to the width or the height, and the other is adjusted in proportion. If you click on it, it breaks and they're adjustable independently. We want them to maintain the same ratio, so make sure that the chain is whole. Now let's scale it down. Let's take it down to, let's try 1,500 or so. Scale it. And it looks like that was more than we needed. So I'm going to come back here to the history, undo the scaling, and let's try it again. Layer, scale layer, and let's try making it about 1,800. grab the move tool. Let's put it into place. It's still a little bit small, so rather than redo, I'm going to come back here, scale layer, and let's make it about 200 pixels bigger. That's not bad. Move it down. And it covers the area, but that doesn't look right. So we're going to come over here to the Layers dock, grab that, drag it down so it's underneath the frame, and now we have a framed image. Make sure that nothing is selected. Now we're going to copy it. I'm using copy visible. Come back here to the hotel room, and once again, just like before, I'm going to paste it as a new layer. Notice it's huge. Well, let's come back here, layer, scale layer. Let's make this layer, let's see how it does at 1500. Scale it down. And let's zoom out so we can get a better overall view of it. And you can see it's still quite large in relation to that picture. So let's scale it again. And let's try for 500 this time. Almost. Let's do it one more time. And this time I'm going to go for 300 wide. That's not a bad size. Let's put it over the microwave. And that's not a bad looking image, but if you look at it, the perspective is off. That picture you're looking at straight on, everything else is a little bit askew, kind of like you're looking off into the distance. So the next thing we need to use is the perspective tool. We'll come up here to the perspective tool, select it, make sure that that particular layer is chosen, and I'm going to give it a name now, call it Pick 1. Click on it, and I'm going to grab the upper right handle and pull it straight down a bit, and then the bottom right handle, pull it up a bit, transform. Why don't we take it back to 100% and see what it looks like. Not too bad, although maybe a little bit extreme, so let's do it again, except this time I'm going to expand it just a little bit. Transform. That's not too bad. Next, we're going to work on this mirror. And let's go ahead and zoom in on this mirror. And once again, we're going to use the fuzzy select tool. Next, we need to make sure that nothing is selected and that we are on the correct layer. So we're going to come in here, click on this area, and you can see it shows about half the mirror. Now, holding the Shift key, I'm going to click over here and start clicking some other areas that were missed by the initial selection. Perhaps by using the higher setting on the threshold, I wouldn't have to be doing this, but this isn't too bad. Looks like just a little bit more up here. And at this point, I'm going to hit delete on the keyboard, and you can see the transparent area. Let's deselect it. And we'll come over here to this image. First thing to do is to rotate it. And let's take a look at the size. It's almost 4,000 pixels tall, whereas this overall image is only 900 tall. And in reality, Let's take it back to 100%. It's only about a third of that. So this I'm going to scale before we move over. Scale, and it's about 4,000 high. I'm going to try 1,200. Scale it. Let's take this back to 100%. Still huge. Let's try scaling it again. This time I'm going to take it to about 500. Now I'm going to copy it. Come back here and paste it as a new layer. Grab the Move tool, and I'm going to drag it over here. Let's name this Pick 2 so we keep it clear what's what, but we still need to scale it. So with the Scale tool, I'm going to come back here, scale it down to right about there. If you remember, that's right about the transparent area. Let's scale it. Now we need to adjust the perspective of it. We're going to drag it down. This is a little bit easier because we have a ready reference there. Drag this one up just a little bit. Transform it. Now let's take Pick 2, drag it behind there. Once again, grab the Move tool. Maybe make some adjustments so it looks its best. And we're almost there. Now finally for the flowers. First thing we need to do is take a look at the size of this image. 3,300 pixels tall, whereas this one's only about 900 tall. So I'm going to come back here and start off by scaling this down. I'm going to say let's make it about 300 tall. We'll scale it. Let's zoom in to 100%. Now with the Fuzzy Select tool, I'm going to select the white area. Pressing the Shift key, I'm going to get a few areas that were missed because they're not connected. We need to make sure that there's an alpha channel. Now I'm pressing Delete on the keyboard, and that looks pretty good. I'm going to make sure nothing's selected, and now I'm going to copy this. Come back over here, paste it once again as a new layer. Let's come back here to the layers. Let's zoom out a bit. And here's the clipboard. It's underneath the main layer. Let's drag this up to the top. There's the flowers. We'll grab the Move tool. And you can see that's really still too big. So let's grab the Scale tool, click on it, and let's make it about 200 tall. Let's try about 200. That looks more reasonable. Grab the Move tool. We'll drag it down here, put it about there. Let's zoom in a bit on it. Now, reflections can't go over the edge. So I'm going to take the Free Select tool. I'm going to click out here. That's about the intersection of those two edges. There, 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 up there. Press Delete on the keyboard. Deselect it. Now with the Scissors tool, I'm going to select the remainder of this image. the remainder of the reflection, come back around, close it, click in the middle, and I'm going to come over here on the dock to opacity, and let's lower it down a bit. That's about 68%. There's about 45%, but it's affecting the whole thing. That's not what you want. Let's select it again. This time I'm going to cut it, and you can see it went away. Now I'm going to paste it again as a new layer. Let's grab the move tool, bring it back down here to where it was. Now I'm going to come up here to opacity, and here it is at about 60%. It's still too solid. Let's try about 40%. Let's deselect it. Go to a different layer. And that's not too bad. There you have it, a freshly decorated hotel room.